The Utah Jazz currently sit 2 games under 500 at 21-23, which puts them at 10th place in the Western Conference. They're currently in the final play-in spot and only 1.5 games back of the 6th seed, which gets you into the playoffs without the play-in. This team came into the season with expectations of competing for the number 1 overall pick, but started this season hot, and on November 21st, over a month into the season, they were 12-7 and in first place in the Western Conference. However, since that point, they've gone 9-16, and it feels as if the team is slipping towards the lottery. It's now being reported by USA Today that the Jazz view likely first-time All-Star Lauri Markkanen and rookie Walker Kessler as the team's only untouchable players. The team is now willing to listen to trade offers for their core guys. They have a young team with a lot of draft capital, and trying to get a higher pick and get some picks for their veterans makes sense. They have a building block going forward in Lauri, and if they do decide to start moving the top guys, they could get a king's ransom. With all that being said, let's get to the individual players and how they're performing. Before I get into the Jazz top pieces and what they might return in a trade, if you enjoy my content and have watched a few videos of mine, think about subscribing. 96% of my viewers are actually not subscribed, so if you've watched me before and enjoy the content, drop a sub and comment down below. It really helps the channel. The Jazz top player that's available in a trade seems to be Jordan Clarkson, who's gone from a former 6th Man of the Year to a really impressive second option offensively. Early on this season, many NBA fans were saying that Clarkson deserved All-Star consideration. He's averaging 21 points per game this season, which is pretty easily a career high, and up nearly 5 points per game from his average last season. He's clearly improved as a playmaker as well, increasing his assist numbers to 4.5 per game, nearly 2 above his career average. His efficiency has also improved from his career mark, and even though 45% from the field and 36% from 3 isn't elite, it's good enough for a spark plug scorer like Clarkson. He is headed for free agency this summer, but if a team is willing to pay him the $20 million annually he desires, then they should have no issues about trading for him. He'll definitely return at least 1 first-rounder for the Jazz, with the possibility of 2. Teams that need scoring help should be interested in him, and the Mavs, Heat, and Cavs all feel like potential suitors. The next player worth mentioning is longtime NBA point guard Mike Conley. He is in his age 35 season, and it feels like he only has a year or 2 left after this one. His 10.1 points per game are the lowest since his rookie season, but he is a huge reason for the Jazz early success. He's averaging 7.5 assists, and his ability to be a pure point guard and great facilitator is something that makes all of his teammates better. He'll be tough for the Jazz to replace, but teams that need veteran leadership and point guard help will definitely be interested in the one-time All-Star. He'll likely return you either 1 pick or a decent rotational piece, but his value to a team will be a lot more than a potential trade could display. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are the most obvious fit because of the veteran presence and playmaking they need, but he could be a Kyle Lowry replacement for the Miami Heat or a mentorship guy for the Orlando Magic. Another player that is somewhat similar to what teams may view Clarkson as is Malik Beasley. He'll likely come off the bench but can score in bunches and shoot the ball at a better rate than Clarkson. This season, Beasley is averaging 14 points and 4 rebounds per game. He's shooting 36% from 3, but his career average is 38%, so he's likely to improve slightly. He is a lesser player than Clarkson, but they are a similar archetype and would likely have similar teams interested. Teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, New York Knicks, and Miami Heat could be interested as teams that need some more wing shooting and scoring. Another player who could garner a lot of trade interest is Jared Vanderbilt, who is an elite defender at only 23 years old. He can guard positions 1 through 5 and is an extreme hustle rebounder. He won't have the same market as a top-level defender like OG Anunoby because his scoring ceiling just isn't as high, but it shouldn't be a large step below that. This season, he's averaging 9 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal per game, while shooting 61% on his 2-point attempts. He's a player that could fit on every team, and realistically, I do think he's worth a first-round pick attached to a solid player. I like him for teams like the Indiana Pacers and Atlanta Hawks, who are young and need defensive help. Honestly, I think there's a chance that he's the main piece in a deal for John Collins, who the Jazz have been attached to in rumors. There are a couple of other players that I won't go as deeply into. Kelly Olynyk offers solid floor spacing as a big man, and there are multiple top teams that need front court depth and spacing. I think that Colin Sexton would be kind of difficult to move on from because of his inefficiency issues and somewhat sizable contract. He could turn his career around, but right now I don't see the point in selling low. Rudy Gay is a veteran that presents size, spacing, and some occasional defense, but at his age I feel as if he has slipped, so you likely wouldn't get a ton in return. The Jazz aren't ready to compete this season, but that's okay. They've shown a lot of promise, and with some trades, could set themselves up better for the future. Lauri Markkanen is putting up 25 points, 9 rebounds, and shooting 41% from 3. He looks like the cornerstone of this franchise, and it would be a shock if he didn't make the All-Star game. Almost no one expected him to be at this level this quickly, so that's great for Utah. You can build around Lauri going forward and have tons of draft picks to add more young guys and potentially make a move when the team is ready to take the next step. Walker Kessler has been phenomenal as a rim protector as a rookie and presents a clean replacement for Rudy Gobert, so I understand not wanting to trade him either. I'd argue that they should keep Vanderbilt, but he could have a good return. Moving on from Clarkson, Conley, and Beasley makes sense, even if the fans will be sad to see them go, as they are fan favorites. This team is set up well for future success, and even though they're thinking of selling, that doesn't mean the future is bleak. This team has overachieved, and is one of the great surprises of the season so far. Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.